Hey, Kevin, where are you going?
Hey, I'm here to check out the show Materialize. It's a 3D printed show, and I've got some pieces in it. So I'm here at the Shemer Art Center in Phoenix, Arizona, and this is an old house that was donated to the city years ago with the idea that it would be used as an art center. So they do classes here, they have shows here, they do presentations here. So I've got some of my pieces in this Materialize show, and then we're going to be here later for a presentation, and then, oh God, I get to do a presentation in a couple of weeks here about 3D printing. So come on in, let's look around. So some of you guys have already seen this one on my website, but this is simple planes with aquamarine stripe in it. Now if you look right here, you can see that stripe. That was actually a boo-boo. That was something that occurred in the middle of the night, and when the machine was running, and we think it was just a little bit of a stain in the filament, somewhere in the middle of the roll, so we had no idea what was going to happen. We just got up the next morning, and there it was, but it turned out pretty cool, actually. So let's walk down the hall and check out a couple other rooms. So from the great big simple planes, almost 4 feet tall, down to little birds called mixed flight, and it's a 3D printed resin. My machine just won't go that small. It won't print anything that tiny. So the 3D printed plaster, didn't know they would do that. Of a 3D printed plaster, computer animation data of a figure driving an automobile and of a figure cleaning a plate. So I guess you just scan it in and let the computer play with the data a little bit and then print it. But from this, wait until you see this next one. So from a gentleman by the name of Lyle London, and they're just listed as plastic. He doesn't specify which type of plastic it is. But my word, this looks like what I was doing with that math-based CAD program, where you put the formula in and then you get a shape out of it that way. So this is kind of fun having the two of them together. An ABS plastic and then birch plywood. So they kind of mirror one another a little bit. 3D printed, and then cutouts that are just screwed together with these little tiny screws. So this was probably done on like a CNC router or something like that, where you design the shapes in CAD and then give it over to the router and let the router cut all the pieces out. This one's kind of cool. It's a study in hands, if you will, done with PLA plastic, and it's done on a little maker bottle. And it's kind of interesting looking at the finish on them. You start with some of these that are basically kind of little cutouts, and it's kind of rough on the surface, and the farther and farther in you get, and then when you get to this one, and you can see the lines in the palm, and you can see the veins. I mean, the detail on this one is just fantastic.
And who did that one?
This is by a guy named Bill Westheimer.
And isn't he the guy that got you into 3D printing?
Yeah. It's all his fault. So these are two more pieces of Bill Westheimer's. And they're books. They're printed books with books inside them. So the complete works of William Shakespeare inside the printed book. So a gentleman by the name of Robert Michael Smith, ABS plastic. And it's cool how much detail you can get into with the 3D printer, how wild the shapes can become. So it's something that you can sit and design on the computer in 3D and then give it over to the machine. And then sit there and just watch it come to life. It's such a cool thing. And oh yeah, my translucent PLA. And what we did was we left the top off, and then the voice got out her acrylic paints, and we mixed up some, and just dumped it down inside to stain the inside of it, just to give it that variation inside there, and then printed a new top for it, and then just glued on the top. And then this one is called Holy Cannoli. Now, just like Lyle London's work, where it was done with math, if you will, and then the picture came out of the math itself, this is the same thing, done with math. It's a single-sided surface. So if you follow the outside around, it would just blend right into the inside. If you follow the inside through, you come right back out the other side, the other end. And you wind up back on the outside again. The detail in this is just phenomenal. It's a plastic resin, so I had it done, out of the shop, if you will. I had another company print it for me. They picked up every single line, every single detail that was in the computer drawing, and it all came out here. The edges, just almost razor thin. How they did it is just amazing. I'd love to see the machine on this one also. And then I printed the base for it on my machine. So it's an acrylic resin, and then it's an ABS plastic. And again, showing the incredible range and complexity that you can get. Not only these fantastic shapes, but then to put color in it too. Variations in color. Just amazing. Just mind-blowing. So thin, so delicate looking. You can look right through them. They're translucent. And there's also the smaller sides, like for some of my work. And then this is where the 3D printing allows me to express myself differently, is these are my designs, here and here and here. It's just smaller. So the sculptures are my progeny line, that I can do at the house on my printers. And then this is some of my jewelry. So taking my designs, taking sculptures that I've already made, and shrinking them down. So in addition to art, 3D printers do practical things, like beer taps, if I only had a glass. So thanks for coming along for this little tour here, and thank you for watching my channel. Don't forget to check out my blog. It's here. I'm talking about all the 3D printing adventures that I'm getting into. We'll see you next time.